nobody gets tired at the Boat Sport and Travel Show, even though we are here in the Travel Cafe. It is Indy Sports Show Live, and I'm your host, Brian Pointer, the Champions Pavilion. A lot of people sitting at the Travel Cafe as we continue to broadcast live across all the social media platforms. You can find them at the IndySportsShow.com. Click on the Boat Sport and Travel Show, the 65th annual Ford Boat Sport and Travel Show. It's been a great day. We've had so many wonderful things over the last 4 days of broadcasting, last weekend and this week. Not too late to get out here to check out the 22nd annual Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl Expo. And obviously we need to talk about deer and part of the Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl Expo. With me is Joe Bacon. Joe is president of the Indiana Deer Hunters Association. I've known Joe for an awful long time. And we've had Joe's other associations. We've had the Canoe and Kayak Club. We've had the Walleye Club. We've had different clubs and organizations all do great work. Tell us about the Indiana Deer Hunters Association.
The Indiana Deer Hunters Association works closely with the DNR on issues that concern both the sportsmen and the wildlife professionals.
You know, there's nothing as, in my opinion, I've been deer hunting for over almost 40 years. And I know that if you want to get different opinions, just ask a deer hunter. They all have their own.
And they're correct.
And they're all correct. It's like a religion for them.
Yes.
How long has this organization been around?
Since 1983.
You know, the importance of what you just said, of working with the Department of Natural Resources, working with the different groups, coming together so that we don't eat our own. We eat our own pretty well in the hunting community, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So what are some of the issues right now, first and foremost, that you guys are concerned with?
The number one is CWD.
Explain what that is.
It's chronic wasting disease. It's a disease that mutated into the deer from sheep in 1967. And it's migrated out from Colorado, where the origin was, and it crossed the Mississippi River, where we were told early on it would be over 200 years before it would get to Indiana. Didn't take that long. It traveled into Wisconsin via truck into a fenced, contained area and spread into Illinois. It spread into Michigan, and now it's within 30 miles of the Indiana border on the west side and on the north side of Indiana.
You know, let's make sure we clarify this, because CWD in Wisconsin cost their Department of Natural Resources millions and millions and millions.
Yes.
And they actually had to eradicate deer in multiple square miles of area so that it wasn't transferred, because it's transferred between the contact.
Yes. Yes. Bodily fluids.
So, you know, we've had this conversation in Indiana about captive or behind high fenced hunting. Oftentimes there's that intertransportation of deer. Maybe it comes from one state to another.
Yes.
And if they touch noses or connect somehow, next thing you know, it can spread.
Yes. Well, if it's in a contained facility and the deer in the containment area can touch noses with a deer outside.
Yeah.
Now it's moved to the outside.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the containment areas, if we got it on the outside and they touch inside,
same thing.
It can transfer. It's not one way.
So on a level of 1 to 10, how big of a concern is CWD to the Deer Hunters Association?
Today, a 10, because when we're within 30 miles, a deer can travel 30 miles in the advanced stages because their brain is eating itself.
Yeah.
And chronic wasting disease, it gets to the point where the deer doesn't know to eat, know to drink, and that's what ultimately kills the deer, is by starvation. And it's 100% fatal.
And again, the unfortunate thing is there are visual signs sometimes, but you can't really tell unless until the deer is dead. And I know there was a lot of voluntary testing of hunters, and the hunters rose to the occasion, monitoring it. But now it's as close as it's ever been.
Yes, and it will get here.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
And what could that potentially do to our herd of wild deer in the state of Indiana?
Not all deer are going to contract it, but those that do are going to live 1.5 to 2 years maximum. Over time, you are going to see a much younger deer herd to hunt. For the hunter, it's going to be, there will come a time that you're going to shoot a deer and you will need to test that deer for CWD before you consume it.
Yeah.
We have not had anywhere that a human has contracted CWD from a deer, but the federal agencies do not recommend eating a chronic wasting
an infected animal, right?
Yes.
So the importance of an organization like the Indiana Deer Hunters Association, I've worked with and respect the leaders like yourself who have worked tirelessly, to say the least, like all of the organizations and advocacy groups. But I've seen a lot more cooperation and collaboration, whether you're the Bow Hunters Association, the Deer Hunters Association, the pheasants, the turkeys, the deer, the ducks, getting together. Do you see that getting better?
I see it getting better. We're back working with the Sportsman's Roundtable.
Yep.
Which is...
Explain what that is, because I think that's an important seat that you have there.
Yes. The Sportsman's Roundtable is a wide variety group of sportsmen, fishermen, the Isaac Walton League, coming together under one umbrella and working closely with the state and somewhat with the legislature.
That's the important part, yeah.
Today it is the important part. It has appeared that the legislature is getting their opinion placed in legislative issues that really need to be with DNR.
Yes, that's a very subtle but yet very important thing. As soon as our legislature starts creating hunting rules or trying to manage game, it's very difficult to modify or change that law. And there's a process of rulemaking that's already in place where citizens and groups and organizations can say, you know, maybe we missed the mark here, we need to modify it or change it. You can't do that so easily with a law.
No.
So, relatively speaking, compared to our peers in the Midwest, what is the state of Indiana's deer hunting, the deer hunting community? What are you hearing? What are they talking about? What's on members' minds?
Today, it is primarily the average deer hunter. There's a large concern out there about the size of the deer herd. We went through 5 years of reduction, and DNR accomplished what their mission was: reduce the deer herd significantly.
And why did they do that?
There was pressure from the legislature.
You know, obviously, I'm sure there was insurance companies who were having deer car collisions and other things, but is that across the state, or is it in different areas, or is it everywhere?
Today, I think it's everywhere.
And, you know, the DNR did that through a myriad of different ways, like increasing licenses, opportunities, and changing the laws on what equipment could be used. There's been a lot of change. Have those been okay, other than maybe achieving the objective? But where does the Deer Hunters Association stand on some of those new changes that have been made in the last 5 years?
Some of them we were for, some of them we were against, some of them we remained neutral. Centerfire rifles, we remained neutral on that issue, and DNR did not see a wide range of support. It was about 50-50. And then we end up with someone getting a bill introduced in the legislature. It gets passed, DNR is forced to put in a season, and it was a cobbled up mess, to be quite frank with it.
Yeah, and that's what happens. You know, there was a law that was passed allowing for centerfire rifles, and they kind of jammed it through, and it kind of got all goofy there for a while. People
Yes.
didn't know what was allowed and what's not. So let's go back to the importance of organizations. What can people expect by joining the Indiana Deer Hunters Association?
That we represent those individuals in our club at public meetings that they are unable to attend. We do a handicapped hunt at Crane Naval Weapons Support Center. That is phenomenal. No cost to the participants. We do a youth hunt at Big Oaks.
Yeah.
That is filled to the brim every year. And again, it's a weekend that there's no cost to the kids or their parents, and the feed them a Friday night dinner and watch smiles.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Cost to join?
$20.
So you've heard you say there's no cost to the participants. Do you raise money in other ways, or is that just from membership?
We raise funds in other ways.
That's awesome. Is there anything that I haven't asked you or that you want to say about the Indiana Deer Hunters Association?
No, I think we about covered it.
Oh, we could keep going.
Yes,
There's a
we
lot to
can.
talk about. Folks, a great opportunity to come out and see some of these organizations like the Indiana Deer Hunters Association here at the 65th Annual Ford Boat Sport and Travel Show. We're in the Travel Cafe, the Champions Coliseum, or the Champion Pavilion, and believe it or not, we have more to come right after this. I'm Brian Pointer, host of Indy Sports Show Live.